Hi all, it's Melinda. This is week 5 of Eileen from Scrapmazing and mine collaboration stash kit based on this mood board. Just as a reminder, I hope you've all been enjoying this series. Eileen has been creating some amazing layouts. Yay! This week's challenge is to use a punch. I chose to use circle punches. And I did a little sample out of some scrap paper just to see if I could do it. Large circle, smaller circle, and I've fan folded them into a butterfly. So I'm going to use circle punches to create butterflies. Here's the littler 2-inch and the 1-inch. And this is the large one and this one. I'm not sure what the sizes on them are. I'm going to use a 5x7 photo from my anniversary with my husband, 22 years. That's our anniversary shot right before we went to dinner. And I'm going to have to use my Martha Stewart. Oh, what is this called? Martha. But that's what we're going to do, is we're going to try that. I will put you on fast forward so you can watch this. I'm going to get out the thickers and try to do the title work just a little bit to start out with. The C'est la vie letters is what I know I want the word butterfly to be in. My whole goal with this project, with the stash kit, is to use these as much as possible because I tend to avoid these because they're hard to find, each letter. So I know that looks really long, but we're going to work on that. I've decided to use the striped paper as a border, and I'm going to fidget with this quite a bit to kind of get it and to see if I like it or not. I'm just going to figure out what the circles I'm going to cut for the butterflies are. I kind of got this idea from a project that my younger daughters brought home from art class many years ago, and they had fan folded some big floppy butterflies. They weren't in circles or anything, but it kind of gave me the idea that this could be something that would work with circles. I'm just going through the 6x6 paper pad and just kind of punching colors. The large two, the dark pink and the light pink, are 3 and 3.5. I'm just going to pick random. I want to avoid the teal color and just do the pink, the yellow, and some black and white. The small little floral there does have a little bit of teal leaves in it, but it's so minute that I don't have to add that color in anywhere else. Now my plan is to make one big butterfly and then make 4 other butterflies, small butterflies, so that I have an odd number. I'm going to show you exactly how to make it on the big one and the small one. I fold it in half what I'm trying to do is break down the center where I'm going to be squishing it. It makes the paper just a little bit easier to be pliable if it's broke down. I do it on all of them, and I just line the folds up. I could have stuck it together and then folded it. The scoreboard, I'm going to line it up, and then I think about this. I'm going to tack it down so it doesn't move, because that smaller circle isn't touching anything, so it slides a little bit. So I just tack it down lightly. And for the larger one, I'm counting 2 slots. So basically every 3rd slot, I'm making a score line. On the smaller one, I do every other slot. And at one time, I tried to flip it over and then do every other one so that the fan fold would work. It was confusing, and it didn't work any less than doing it this way. I'm punching down the center. And I'm doing this so that, again, I'm breaking down the center line where I'm going to be folding it. It makes it so much more pliable. Now, I did a little hole to begin with, and then I'm pushing it all the way through so it's a bigger hole. And it, like I said, it just makes it more pliable. There's less material there than if there's a hole. And just fan fold back and forth, back and forth. Now, I try to really press in the center, but not press on the edges, because then I'm going to end up pulling out anyway, so no point wasting my effort trying to get a deep fold. This is 28 gauge copper wire in multiple colors. They call it stringing. It's for beads. You can find it, I found it in the bead section at Michael's. This is the smallest wire that I could find. I want it to be very pliable, very thin. I'm just folding it in half. I'm going to stick it around the center, wrap it around a couple times, and then twist it. Now you could make this a little bit thicker there, or a little bit thinner. Now I'm just unfolding them, and then I'm kind of pressing on the outer edge of it to kind of squish it. This larger one, some of the seams ripped. I think I pressed a little bit too hard when I was doing the bone, using the bone folder to make the creases, but that's okay. It looks just a little bit, you can just see a little bit of rips in it. This is an awl. Actually, I think this is like a thing you stick in beads to break open the hole, but it's kind of like an awl. I just wrap the wire around and twist it, just roll it, I guess, not twist it, to make little curlicues on the end of the antenna, I guess they're called. And there it is. The larger one, I could glue the bottom together a little bit, and I thought it looked better glued together. The smaller ones, that's not as easy. Now I'm lining this up with the 1-inch mark on my scoreboard. And like I said earlier, I go every other one on the smaller one, so they have smaller folds. And I just glued the circles together by overlapping them just a touch. And the other thing that I make sure I do is I make sure I fold the end pieces, because they're really small. I make sure I fold them down so that the color part, so it's not, when you see the butterfly from all angles, you don't see the white, because these are not double-sided. So I fold it towards the color. And it works out that they both end up being folded towards the color. I'm just binder clipping just to hold it so I can get the wire ready. This one, I end up making this one to be 7 inches long on the smaller ones. It could have been a little bit longer, so I could have wrapped it more than once, but so I probably would have made it maybe 9 inches long. You can always cut it if it's too long. Now I try to put adhesive on this one and glue. It doesn't stay. So, and again, I'm just kind of opening them up and pressing on the outer edge of it to almost like to flatten the creases. I'm going to curl the antenna. I think that one I curled towards the center, and the other one I curled away from the center. Either way works. Now I'm going to stick you on fast forward really fast here while I do the other 3. Just fold it and break the center down. I just wanted to give you a chance to see. I think all of them look great with the patterns I chose. It is a 6x6 paper pad, so everything looks tinier. I think if you had bigger flowers, it probably wouldn't necessarily give you the look you're looking for, unless that's what you're going for. Now these I did all 3 at the same time. It just felt easier to me to score them all at the same time. And mixed them up randomly. Just didn't want to have, you know, I don't want to have more than one butterfly in the same patterns, completely the same, so I mixed it up a little bit. This is really easy to do, and I think they look pretty dynamic. I'm excited about them. I avoided you to have to watch me do all that all over again. Just seeing the differences. Now, I did try to do one out of the 3-inch and then the 2-inch. That 1-inch difference was a little bit too much. You almost need the butterflies, the circles, the top circle to be only a 1/2 inch bigger than the bottom circle. I think that looks the best. It looked disproportionate. I should have showed you. Yes, in my excitement, I lay all these out a couple times and have to keep moving them around. I'm going to work on my title a little bit more. The total title is going to be You Still Give Me Butterflies 22 Years Later. I come up with a little bit different formula for this, and then I've taken some words out because I said even 22 years later, but the even wouldn't fit, so you'll see me do that a little bit later. And this is going to go right on the picture. I'm going to get some more of the wax paper out. Now, do you see how the V is more of a I don't know, not as shiny? I didn't realize that these are the exact same thickers, same name, same everything. One is matte and one is shinier. So I have to make sure I didn't want it to be mixed. So all the 22 years part was all in matte finish. So I had to fix that. Something I think that's kind of a quality control issue, but I don't know. Now I can tell you, I lay this out a couple times. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. What's throwing me is that the photo is really large and I don't have as much real estate as I normally have to play with. So that really, I should have used a smaller photo, I think. I'm going to use my technique of putting down this tissue paper, gold fleck tissue paper. I need to find some more of that. Now I'm just using a scrap, so it's not even. So I'm just going to stick it down and then I'll cut it and trim it the way I want it. I'm going to unfold it just so I can put adhesive down, and then it never goes back to the same way, but that's okay. A little bit of washi tape to hold the folds together so they don't flop around. Washi tape works better than my glue, my ATG gun, because my ATG gun seems to want to eat the tape, eat the paper, and not stick. Just rip. And here I go. This is the first time I sweep everything off. I'm going to trim this down to 10.5, I think. No, 11.5. So I have a 1/4 inch all around. And then I'm going to gut it so that I can use the rest of it to mat the photo. I cut this at 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. The hole. Now I'm not sure, I'm thinking in my head right now of which way I want this to go. Do I want the orangey yellow on top or the pink on the bottom? I wanted all the colors to be out, so that's why I changed the orientation of these stripes. If I did it one way or the other, I wouldn't have all the colors. And yeah, I think maybe I want to change the orange to a yellow, but I leave it. I figure it'll be fine. This is self-adhesive foam. I'm just going to stick 2 pieces on the back so it gives it a little bit more dimension. That's where everything's going to stay. That part right there stays. It's the part where on the bottom that I fuss with a little bit more. I'm going to hand draw some, I don't know, flight patterns for the butterflies. I kind of wanted to make it a little bit whimsy. So I kind of just messily draw lines. A little curl here. I'm going to sew these lines in gold thread. I have to adjust them because you can't always see them, and I realize that I'm not going to be able to sew a tight circle, so I want to make the circles a little bit bigger. Erase the extra line so I don't get confused. And ta-da, it's done. I'm going to erase the pencil lines that I can see. Now I just use a fine needle in my sewing machine. I think it has a blue base instead of the red base when I do the metallic thread, because otherwise it breaks a lot. Once I get going on the title, I realize that that big butterfly is going to have to move. It's too big for this space. I started doing that and I realized I want to do some sprinkling. So, like I said, I put things on and take it off quite a bit on this layout. That was gold, Heidi Swap Color Shine. And then I used the yellow, which is butter. And then the pink, all Heidi Swap. Just the 3 colors. I'm rolling it off because I really want this to dry fast. That does lighten them quite a bit than letting them dry on their own. But impatience always wins with me when it comes to splatter. I'm going to add journaling on a tag because I'm realizing I have no space. I'm debating whether I want the polka dotted one in gold or the pink one, and I decided that I'm going to use this black and white polka dotted one for the journaling, and I don't want to forget to use brads, so I'm going to get them out right now while I ponder that. I'm just going to pick 3 of the pale pink ones, and that solidifies the fact that I want the light pink tag. I just cut the backs off with wire snips. I found them in the jewelry section at Michael's. They're fairly inexpensive. I have 3 or 4 pair I kind of keep here and there. Now I can't journal on this polka dotted tag. It's slippery in the polka dots. So I have this scrap of Project Life card. It's gridded. I'm just going to stick it on there. And I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going to put the journaling, the tags. And I'm going to do what I always do when I do this. I'm going to take Scott's foam tape, cut it in half, lay it along the sides, and put one at the bottom, and then just raise the rest of the section up with the foam tape. I do this often, so if I forget to tell you a step that you're interested in, please leave me a comment and ask. I will be happy to explain this in more detail to you. I just peel it all off. This is just a scrap of white paper. I stick the tag in, and I decided that the pink tag is going to go on the back, and I'm just going to adhere it. I'm not even going to cut the tag shorter. I'm going to waste the whole tag. I figure I have plenty of tags that won't kill me. Here I go again. Put all the butterflies back on. I'm going to gather all the letters up because they're on 2 sides of my mat here where I flung them off. And my goal is to get the word butterfly to be the same width as the photo mat so that it all kind of is nice and tidy. To do that, I have to kind of overlap the letters a little bit. In the end, I like that so much better because it kind of is flitting up and down like a butterfly does. So it worked. And this is where I decide even has to go. It doesn't fit. And I like that much better. I do a lot of fiddling. This is where I decide I need to move that up. I can tell you, the two smaller ones being next to each other, I didn't like that they kind of went in a straight line to each other. Like, I wanted them to be a little more, I don't know, higgly-piggly, you know, one up, one down. But they end up being a little bit straight. That's okay. I'm just looking through to find out what else I want to add. This Tim Holtz sticker book, I love this book, but what I don't like about it is there's so many, which could be a good thing and a bad thing, that it takes forever to find something that's applicable to what I want to do. I chose this long one that says it's the little things that make life big, and I cut it in half and add it to this pink sticker. I thought it was looking a little plain, so I added the sticker. I'm getting the hot glue gun set up because the butterflies are very dimensional, and I don't think anything else is going to work. I'm going to grab some twine and just tie this into a bow. The other tag, the polka dot tag, came pre-tied, so I'm just leaving that one on there. Now I wanted to make sure I adhere that where the tag's going to go in right close to the edge, so it doesn't get, so it's easier to put the tag, slide the tag in the slot. I know my husband always has a hard time when he reads the journaling that he pushes it to the back and it gets stuck. I'm just going to stick these stickers right on the photo. In person, the pink stands out a lot better on the black and white photo than it does here in the video, into my eye at least. And I'm hanging off the edge, the descendings of the Y and the G, because I want the letters to be as close to the butterfly as possible, the word butterfly. I'm just going to use my little glue stick here to put these on, and like I said, I'm going to put these close together and kind of bump them up and down so they're kind of nestled within each other, just so that it can fit. Sorry about my head. And it worked out perfectly. I'm so happy I did that. And I'm just going to go right to sticking these down. I'm done debating on whether and where they're going to go. I decided to abbreviate years because it would just be too long. I did that right in the very beginning. Now I'm going to debate on this one more time. Now I wish I would have stuck that butterfly up closer to the S, but I didn't. So we're going to go with that. I'm hot gluing the enamel dots down. Now I don't journal on screen, and it's not because it's private, it's just I didn't figure I wanted to waste your time watching it. The journaling tag says, "I'm ever so grateful that you fell in love with me. I couldn't be happier to be your wife and to spend the rest of my life with you by my side." These are the rock candy hearts that I got from AliExpress. I decided I wanted a little bit more of a lovey theme, so if I add these hearts in kind of the swirly patterns around where the butterflies flew, I thought it kind of got the picture. Now I'm slowed this down to real time so that I can show you the close-up in live view here. Wiping away some of the strings from the hot glue gun. That's one thing I don't like about hot glue. Now I do take that string from the journaling tag and loop it and staple it. You'll see that in the still shots. It was just too long and dangly. Now I don't know about you, but I can't tell that those are circles. Those butterflies don't look like circles, so I'm really impressed with that technique. This ended up being layout 73 of 2017. That's what I write in the back, the date I did it and why I did it. So this was the collab video. Just going to do some trimming up of that that flight pattern that I'd sewn on that one was a little bit long because it was supposed to be for the big one, so I have to cut out the extra so it doesn't look odd. There's going to be plenty of still shots at the end so you can see it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please go check out Eileen's Scrapmazing video for today. She is an awesome lady, and I'm so very grateful that she wanted to do this collab with me. I'm having a great time. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'm very good at responding. And thanks again for watching. Have a good day. Bye.